Jesus said in the Bible, whether you believe the Bible or you don't believe the Bible, what does it value a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? This is a perfect picture of what that means to me. As a parent, I have a question for you, and I want you to think about this and think of a number between 1 and 10. How important and how much of a priority is it for your kids to do well in school, get good grades, and be a good student? How important is that from 1 to 10 to you? Hi, my name is Jesse. I have actually been a teacher for 17 years. I stopped a couple years ago. And now I provide parents like you with the tools, strategies, and support so that they can release this parenting guilt that we all feel and they can break these generational cycles so that they can create a new story for their family moving forward. Now, in that first question from 1 to 10, there is no right or wrong answer. We're all different. And that's kind of the bigger point of this, right? That there is no right or wrong answer. If your answer was 1 or 0, that's just as valid as if your answer was 10, depending on your reason. I would say that's the biggest thing. More important than the number you gave them, it's the reason. Why is that your number? Why is that? Why is school that level of importance for you and for your kids? Is it because it's important to your kids? Is it because you're leaning into their skills? You're leaning into their talents and their interests, which happen to be school? Or is it because of our own conditioning from our childhood and their childhood, and ever since the Industrial Revolution, what our education system has been training and ingraining into our culture and in our minds? And that's what I want us to think about today as we take a look at another Pixar short. I don't think this is actually a Pixar short. I think it's just an animated short from a different production company. But we're looking at that short, and it's called Alike. I have seen it, so this isn't a first-time reaction. I haven't seen it for many years, and it's a good thing because when I first saw it, I cried. I don't want to cry in front of you. Got to keep that machismo. Anyway, let's take a look at it without wasting any more time. Let's take a look at Alike. I feel like I'm watching my son here, especially when he was little, you know. And notice he filled up that bag with books and books and books because we got to be good at school. We have to focus on our homework and focus on our studies, right? The image here. I mean, first, let's take a look at that. The image of him packing up the school. This is brilliant. Packing all of those books, the school books, the school books. This is brilliant. Into that bag. It's gigantic, and he makes it manageable. And then it halters and it stops the boys' activity. And notice his color. The boy's color is yellow. It's all like a dreary kind of black and white feel. And the dad's color is also kind of dreary and colorless, except for his tie. He has a spark left in him, just like you have a spark left in you, or more, right? Maybe you're full of color, which is a blessing. That's something to notice too. That's a blessing if we have our color. Look at the color, like the dad and the son here. Um, Notice that little detail here. When the sun came up, the dad, his body language perked up as if he was proud that he was doing a good job. And that's what we're doing. We are conditioned through generational cycles. When we talk about generational cycles, I'm not always talking about, abuse or yelling or mistreating or addiction or anything like that. It can be that, and many times it is that, but it can also be generational cycles of focusing. We have to focus on school. We have to get good grades. Forget about your interests. Forget about this. You don't have time to get an after school job. You have to focus on your grades. You don't have time to do sports. If your grades lower and you're in after school activities, you're going to be taken out until your grades rise. Things like that. These are generational cycles too, because of our education system, which is created not to produce successful people, but to create more industrial machines. That's the history of the education system. Boom. You see the dad, he perked up because I'm doing a good job. And according to society, when we encourage our kids and have our kids do good in school, do well in school, you see, it worked for me. When we encourage our kids to do well in school, we are doing a good job, right? So there are so many subtleties in this short. Look, his overburdened suitcase, and he picks it up to march forward. Such a picture of life, isn't it? Of life in this generational cycle type of situation and pressure. Notice the colors. They're all dreary. There is no color, really. There is no color. Look at that look in wonder, right? The contrast, no color in this world, but this little space for this tree and this person following his heart and playing music. And everyone kind of walks by, not even noticing it, except for this little boy. It catches his eye because he's in color. He's living in his true self, out of his heart. He's living in imagination. And this is what, to me, this is a picture of imagination, which in the world of imagination, it's dimmed by this industrial kind of, do our 40 hours a week and get our 2 weeks of vacation a year and just struggle to get by. And those are the generational cycles also that we are unintentionally passing on to our kids, thinking we're doing a good job, but we're driving them to this life of mediocrity, really. But here he's living in imagination. This violin player under this colorful tree in this black and white city is living in his imagination. Interrupted. And no, it's not an intentional thing by the Father. many times when we do this, you have to focus on your grades. You have to get good grades. You have to do well in school. You have to do your responsibilities. These are often coming from a place of love because we always want our kids to do better than we were. We want our kids to have more than we had. And we are conditioned that this traditional school to college to work situation is the way, because if our kids get better grades than we got, then they can go to better school than we got. And when they go to a better college than we went to, they will have a better job than we have, not knowing that it's really just a higher level of stress of following this mindless system. Again, this is not, I was a teacher and I'm all for education. I think education is the answer against so many wars. I think education is the answer against drug problems, against homelessness. Education is the answer to all of these. But what type of education are we talking about? Are we talking about formal, structuralized 1, 2, 3 education, or really understanding who we are and understanding who we are, the color that we have inside of us, so that we can transfer that onto them to explore so much more than we see in this industrialized system? Does that make sense at all? But it's well-meaning here. Who else felt that? You go into work and you lose the little color you have. And you're just like, oh, I've been there. You walk closer to the door, the entrance to your job, and you get this sinking and sinking and sinking feeling. Saying, I don't even want to walk in here, right? And who's with me? Who felt that? Like he's questioning. He's noticing, but he feels stuck. He's noticing around here. Look, he has a little bit of color around his eyes. He's noticing everyone else is completely zombified. He's looking around, but he feels stuck. Have you ever felt like that? Who else was there in school too? You're just waiting for that clock, that bell to ring for you to go out of the classroom. The same thing happens at work. Now he's waiting in anticipation for his son to come out. He gets what's left of his color back. Ooh, who felt that? He thought that he did a good job. You know, he was expressing himself and he showed his father's work, and it didn't align with the status quo for what constitutes good work. And he's just a child, right? And sometimes that's I felt that, because sometimes we can all fall into that. We can all break their illusion a little bit because our expectations for something were different than theirs, rather than looking at their expectations, right? So right there, as a teacher, I first saw this when I was a teacher too, and it really annoyed me. Because as a teacher, that is a great opportunity to look at that. Yeah, of course, in our classrooms, we have certain work and certain at a certain level it needs to be done. We're there for a reason. We're there to learn and grow. Okay, here to do this work. But at the same time, how much of an opportunity is that to ask him a question? Oh, do you like violins? What's this? What does that mean to you, right? That's one message that I always drill into you guys and to myself. I'm talking to myself and you're just here listening as well, but ask questions. Am I asking enough questions? Am I getting a look into what they're thinking and what they're feeling and what they want, both to your child and to a student? That's a great opportunity to get to know who they are and what they love and what they want, you know. Look at him. He's starting to lose color. The dad, he's like, where's my color? Like, because to me, the son, he's losing his color. So he isn't even transferring the energy onto the father now. And the father's like, what is this? Because we can feel that, right? Energy is a real thing. We feel the energy off of others. We feel the energy from our kids. That's why we know when something's a little off, when something's wrong. And it's important to listen to those because it could be something serious. And they also, what's something we don't always recognize and realize is they feel our energy. So when we're annoyed, when we're bothered, when we are stressed, and we want to deplete ourselves out of sacrifice for the kids, it's so important to replenish our own love first because our energy feeds off of each other. There it is. There it is. This is the part that got me because it's getting me now too. His will has been taken away. His imagination has been taken away. Aside from the color, look at him. Such a resigned look. And we don't want that from our kids, right? And sometimes we don't even see it because we're focused. I want to do a good job. I want to help them get a good future. I want to help them in school. I want to help them and support them to get good grades. And meanwhile, we don't realize that we are taking their soul away. You know, Jesus said in the Bible, whether you believe the Bible or you don't believe the Bible, what does it value a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? This is a perfect picture of what that means to me. Powerful. Oh, and all of the other kids. Notice the father here. And I'm sure you can relate to this because you're watching this until this moment, until now, right? You clicked on this. You've watched until now. So there's something inside of you that wants something more that the other people, that the other workers in this video, that the other people in the society, they're too far gone. They don't even realize that there's another option, but you do. And you want more. And I want to acknowledge you for that. And I want you to acknowledge yourself for that, that you do see that there's more. You do want more. Maybe you feel stuck and you don't know how to get out right now, but keep moving forward. And if you need help, there are resources down below to help you. And notice back here, and I love the imagery of the cross as well, right? He has almost lost hope. He's watching this where he was filled with wonder in the beginning, and he's almost lost hope watching this. Like it's out of reach. Boom, the cross. Surrender to taking my soul. He's got his tree. Are walking the other way from the school, from where everyone else is going. He got his tree picture. He saw what was needed in his son to make that connection. Let's see what happens. So we see, I'm going to pause here to see, let's see what happens next. But you see here, the biggest thing that I see that he's doing here is he's being an example. He's not telling his son, like, go do what you want. No, he's doing it for himself and letting his son see that. He's seeing him. He's seeing him be the change. And if we are stuck in our own lives and we tell our kids to go for their dreams, that's one thing, and that's very good. But what about you? Are you going for your dreams? Are you being an example for them to follow? Are you going for what you want? Are you sitting under the colored tree? Am I sitting under a colored tree? Am I being an example in a way that I want them to follow? That's what it says to me, to be an example for them to follow in going for our dreams, in living in our color rather than the black and white. And to look a little silly. Like he looks a little uncomfortable, right? He's just bare there going against the status quo. It's not always comfortable to not follow the crowd and to stand out and go upstream and do the difficult thing. And I made a video the other day, like sometimes I do things to challenge myself to look a little silly in safe spaces so that I can kind of turn down that what does everyone else think? Right? Look at this. He looks uncomfortable, but he's going for it anyway. That says a lot more to our kids than following the crowd. He's a hero. He's looking more comfortable. And right here, in these moments, and I'm sure you've had these with your kids, hugging them, and nothing else in the world even exists. You see, no one else is here. Nothing else exists outside of that moment. That was a short, I'll put that in the description below and I'll be right back. So that was a like, that is such an emotional short to me because of the things that I've shared, the real nature. It was such a beautifully done, like whoever did that thought of every little detail. And it was just so magnificently done. But it is an example of how we're conditioned to behave in a certain way. And these are the kinds of things also that go into these generational cycles, also generational cycles of focusing on school, focusing on the path A, and not observing everything that's outside of that little box that is possible for our kids and for you and for me. So if that's something that you want to explore more about, then I have a link to a parent leadership, a membership where I have resources and we do live calls and coaching and support and community strategies to help you break these generational cycles so that you can write your own story for your family. And it's at a very affordable price, like less than a cup of coffee a day. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you for being here. Let me know if you have any other kinds of shorts that you want me to take a look at too. These are a lot of fun. I love doing these, and I'll see you in the next one.